Hello and welcome to the 6th and final chapter of the Model Kits for Beginners learning course, where I teach you how to build and paint your model kit with an airbrush. In this chapter, we're going to take a look at a basic weathering technique that can help make your model look more realistic. And then finally, we'll assemble all our parts to create our finished Spitfire kit. With the decals complete, we're now at the final stage of the project, weathering and finishing. What we have here is a factory finish, super clean airframe. What we're going to do now is make it look dirty. Of course, if you like how it is now, you can just skip this part and go straight to the end. But if you want to make it look similar to how it would have been in combat, then we need to add some weathering. And for this, I'm going to keep it very simple and just use a weathering wash. A wash is heavily diluted pigment that will collect in details like panel lines and rivets, and also collect around corners. You'll be familiar with this from the cockpit. You can do this multiple ways. Broadly apply it to the whole aircraft and then wipe it off, leaving behind a slight change in tone and overall grime. Or you can specifically add it to detail areas for a more refined approach. The latter option tends to be easier to manage, especially in the cleanup stage. There are many different products out there that you can use, all with different purposes. I'll be using Deep Brown Panel Line Wash from Ammo. The Panel Line Wash series are thinner and designed to flow nicely through panel lines. I'll decant it into a shot cup and then use the wash brush to run it along the recessed details. Cover any areas that you want, and when it's dry we can use a paper towel to rub it off. Make sure that you remove it in the direction of airflow. This means that any streaks will be going in the right way. By using a dry paper towel, instead of wiping the surface clean of the wash, we're just dragging it away. Some of it will go on the towel and some of it will be left on the surface. This gives you a really nice effect and will even leave you with a dirt shadow where you brushed it on. And if you've been neat with the application, you'll essentially add a shadow to the panel lines, which is actually a really desirable weathering effect. However, to be able to wipe the wash away with just a dry paper towel, you'll need to have had a good gloss surface. So if you're struggling to wipe it away, it's probably because your surface is still a bit too rough and it's gripping to it. But that's not a problem, because you can just dampen the towel or cotton bud in odorless thinners and it will take the wash away. Do this for as much or as little as the aircraft as you want. And don't forget the landing gear too. A wash is as far as I'm going to go on the weathering on this build. This project was more a focus on airbrushing and getting an all-round good finish, so a neat panel line wash is perfect for that. When you finish all the work that you want to do on the surface, we need to seal it all in with the finishing varnish layer. For that, I'll be using VMS satin, the same as I did on the cockpit, but this time over the whole aircraft. Mix it 50-50 in the colour cup and spray it between 15 to 20 psi in light, even coats. You should only need 1 or 2 coverings. They must be light and controlled coats. Let it dry and you'll be left with a uniform satin finish. Once that's fully dry, we can remove the canopy and cockpit masking. Use the tip of your blade to get under the edge of the tape and then slowly peel it off with tweezers. You can use a cotton bud to polish the clear parts. Now we're going to paint the tail wheel and do any final touches, using Vallejo black for the tyre and ammo metal for the oleo. The part itself isn't very well moulded, so the details and shapes are hard to pick out, but do your best. Now I'll use the cockpit colour to paint the small piece that goes behind the cockpit, and at this stage I'll also paint the cockpit sill and the inside face of the front canopy frame. Now let's add the landing gear. I use a small amount of Tamiya cement on the insert tab. Airfix have done a really nice job with the fit, and as long as the parts are clear of paint, the legs slot in perfectly. Use extra thin or quick set to further lock the legs in place. Take your time and get the alignment right, and allow the glue to harden. Continue to add the remaining pieces. The easiest way is to apply Tamiya cement to the part and then place it in position. Gluing the spinner and canopy is optional. I tend to leave mine not glued so I can move them around. Unfortunately, as I was preparing the gun sight, it went flying across the room and it was declared MIA. And with that, the Airfix Spitfire MkXVIII is complete. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed the course and found it useful. It was an absolute pleasure to make this for you. Now lastly, I'll leave you with this unedited debrief from me minutes after finishing the build. All of the voiceover has been carefully scripted to remove any waffle and make sure you only get the necessary information. So I will say this is a bit more relaxed, and I do apologise if I'm hard to understand. But going back and listening to this during the editing process, I thought it was too good to leave out. So thanks again for buying the course. I hope it helped you, or at the very least inspired you to get an airbrush and try out some new techniques.
That is the finished build. There it is in all its glory. Nice satin finish, looks really good on camera. I didn't glue on the rear canopy or the propeller because it just means you can take them off when you're transporting, makes things a little bit easier. Also, you can pose it, so you then have a kind of propeller that spins, and also canopy you can have either shut or open, up to you. So that's the beauty of not gluing them on. But at the same time, obviously, if you pick it up and do anything with it, it falls off. So yeah, up to you. I'm going to leave it off. So let's have a look at the aircraft then. What have we got? Lovely finish on the wings. Nice satin, look at that. Lovely sheen. That's perfect. You could have gone full matte and it would have looked just as nice, but I think the satin just looks nice. Obviously you got the cockpit in there. The underside, what are we looking at here? Underside looks nice, the grey looks really cool, again with the satin finish, not as cool as the camouflage unfortunately, but the undercarriage bays, nice little subtle weathering that we added way back at the start. The aerials, you've got one on the right wing there, that's nice. That detail pops quite nicely, you can see that. And then obviously you've got your two hooks there, and then the rear one at the end, I don't know what that is. Tail wheel, awful moulding, but we'll work with it. Obviously, I drilled the holes for the rockets, but I haven't added them because, in my opinion, Spitfires should be clean because they're Spitfires. That's what makes them sexy. But yeah, cool. Let's have a look at the. Actually, let's have a look at. There's no seam lines whatsoever, so we did a really good job at sanding that. So hopefully yours is looking just as good. Let's have a look at the cockpit from the outside. You can see right in there, it's really nice wood details. That's just from dry brushing and a little bit of a wash, so you guys should be really happy with that. You can see the control column, decals, look at that, really awesome stuff. And the contrast between the cockpit green and the rest of the camouflage looks so good, man. That looks awesome. And I hand painted the inside of the frame with the same cockpit colour, so you can see that looks really cool. And that is accurate. It would be that colour. So you see the other side, you got the trim wheel there, and then also the red hook there. That is actually red. I did look it up. Again, it is literally just to help escape from the cockpit. That door is a really tight fit. I was literally sat in a Spitfire the other day, and it's a really, really tight fit. There's your instrument panel there. The gun sight for me, when I was holding it with tweezers, it pinged off and flew into the carpet, so that was never going to be seen again, unfortunately. But if I was going to add the gun sight, what I was planning on doing was literally just tweezering it in and just putting it there, bang, like that, with the tweezers. So good luck with that. There we go, that's the cockpit again, front nose, you can't see really any seam lines at all. There's a little bit of a ghost seam there at the back, but who cares? And the top as well, the panel lines come out really nicely that we handmade. In fact, they're probably some of the best I've ever done, that you can't even tell. And compare it to the bottom as well. Yeah, really nice. Probably could have done a bit of work there where the aerial is, but I'm happy with it. The elevator, obviously, we've got drooping down, flopping down as per gravity. The elevators, obviously, this is all a wire-controlled aircraft, so you know, no electronic components whatsoever or hydraulics. So the elevators would absolutely just sag down like that, droop down under their own weight, and then the control stick is pushed forward to replicate that. Obviously, we got our exhaust in silver as told. Can't tell which one's had black. I think this one was the black base and that was the non-black base. So, again, up to you. Add a little black tips on the guns there. I think they probably should be red, but who knows? You can do what you want. And obviously, the panel line wash is nice, very subtle. Does a good job, in my opinion. Obviously, with the canopy, unfortunately, both the canopy pieces were slightly off their mould, as in a little bit You can just brush any dust off like that. You can see the canopy piece there, bit of a dodgy mould. That again, that was straight from the factory, so I couldn't do anything about that. And then the front canopy, the front windscreen, kind of a bit of like speckling going on the front there. So again, I can't really do anything about that. It's just air bubbles. There you go. See how it closed or open. Entirely up to you. That's the beauty of having it not glued on. Then obviously it does fall off at any other point. So there you go. What a lovely build. There we go, really happy with that. Fantastic kit, really nice kit. Well, for an Airfix Spitfire, it's not half bad, really not half bad. I've done a lot worse. I've had a lot more tedious experience with other kits. So yeah, really, overall pretty bloody happy with that. See the canopy falling off there already. Oh yeah, I almost forgot where you put the nav lights on. The wingtip navigation lights on. Port on the left. Port is a red drink. Port, which means left, has 4 letters. Left has 4 letters. Port, red, left. There you go. Happy days, remember that. Sweet. Credits roll, credits roll, credits roll, credits roll. Happy days. Easy peasy. Spitfire complete. Mission carry on, sir.